Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. My name is Giridhari, and today I want to describe to you two ideals which are considered the utmost ideals for you to cultivate to become a true spiritualist. And these come up in different places in the scriptures, and they're a little hard to understand. They're actually kind of hard to understand, but they are key points that if you can unlock this, even if you understand them partially, it's going to help you take a quantum leap in your spiritual understanding. Very important point. So, okay, the first one is that you're not the doer. And that's a really hard one to understand, okay? So let me try to explain it by taking a step back. So, Krishna, you're not the doer. What does that mean? Well, you have to understand first the Vedic concept of reality. There's a beautiful concept called the three tattwas, the three fundamental aspects of reality, the three tattwas, which should not be ever mixed and confused one with the other. So the three tattwas are Vishnu-tattwa, God. And then you have prakriti-tattwa, which means matter, material energy. And then you have jiva-tattwa, which means soul. So this is the idea. You have these three fundamental principles of reality: God, matter, and soul. Of course, in Bhagavad Gita, the first thing Krishna does, as he's presenting himself as God, the first thing he says to describe himself as God, the position of God, is to say, I have two energies, matter and spirit. So the first thing he says, so Krishna says, I have Prakriti and Jiva. They're both my energy. So there's these connections. But you should not confuse them. You should not think that Jiva is God. That's what the impersonalists do, the Shankaracharya. They confused a soul with God, which doesn't make any sense. Because obviously if you were God, you wouldn't be overwhelmed by Maya. Under the guise of matter, Prakriti wouldn't overtake your consciousness and make you confused and lost, obviously. So Jiva isn't God. Jiva isn't Prakriti. That's what the materialists do, right? The hardcore atheist materialists, they think that's, good. Jiva is just matter. Consciousness is just matter. There's nothing else. So if you confuse Jiva with Prakriti, you're a materialist. If you confuse Jiva with God, you're an impersonalist. And if you confuse God with matter, then, you make a mess of things as you start. So you can't confuse these three fundamental principles, distinct realities: God, matter, soul. So now let's go back. You're not the doer. So what does that mean? Well, you as Jiva are not matter. So when things happen in matter, I raise my arm. Oh, okay. But what happened is this is all happening in the scope of matter. My arm, it's a material body in the material atmosphere, and I'm just, so it's all happening within matter. But I desired it. So that's what I did. I desired my arm to be lifted, and in this case, matter did it. So, but the matter is actually, it's the gunas doing it. It's within material energy that's doing things. I, however, did desire it. So Krishna says, yes, you are responsible for what you desire. He says that. Look, don't just say it was me when things go well, and don't blame me if things go wrong. You're responsible. So if I desire to put my hand in fire and got burned, I couldn't blame God or like, oh, you made my hand burn. Like, no, you desired it, and that was the result. You didn't do it, but you were responsible for it. So it's this thin line. It's a little hard to understand this concept. But if you step back and say, no, this is all matter. The point is, you're the observer. You're observing matter. You're not the body, you're not material. So it's very important to understand this, I'm not the doer, because it gives you that step back where you can then understand that everything here is of a different quality, a different reality to you. It's very important concept. You're soul. You're transcendent to all this, to the whole universe, everything material. So it's not you actually doing things in matter, but it's matter acting. And sure, you desired it, yeah, but it wasn't you doing it. Okay, so a little hard to understand. I understand, but try to, capture this idea. It's very important. Is you're the observer of matter, of things happening according to matter. And Krishna even goes further in Uddhava Gita. And I just did this class, and you can catch this class if you were a member of this channel. Krishna says, and mind you, the actions you're doing are influenced by matter. So matter influences you to act a certain way, and it might be pious or impious, and then that action creates another material situation which then impels you to act again. So this point is drilled down that, look, you're not the doer. You're being influenced by material nature, and all the actions being happening in material nature. Okay, a little hard to understand, but try to understand. Second point, much easier now, is you're not the proprietor. You're not the owner. This is easier to understand. You don't own anything because, again, you're jiva, and everything you might say you own. I own this, this house and this car and this body, and this is my arm, and all these things you might say you own, but they're not you, they're not jiva. The only thing you are is jiva. You're like a soul, that's all you are. So all this stuff is in a different level, is a different type of energy. It's a different, distinct reality to what you are. And of course, you don't own anything, because when death comes, you lose everything in one flash, in a flash of a moment. So you had, my house and car and stocks and bank accounts and jewels and clothes, boom, gone, not longer yours. So it's not yours because in just one little snap of a finger, it's not yours anymore, right? You're dead, you're gone. So it's not yours because you don't have any control of it. At any moment, something gets taken from you, or you die and everything gets taken from you. So it's not so hard to understand. So with these two concepts, they really set you up for like higher consciousness, topmost conscious levels, because you understand that you're the observer, you're distinct. Viveka, very important point. I'm distinct from matter, I'm distinct from material reality. I am the observer of reality, I'm the observer of my emotions, and that it just sets you apart and lets you focus on what you really are. I am consciousness. And I can direct my consciousness, because that's what I am. I am consciousness, and I can direct it. And I can elevate it. And I can degrade myself, but I can elevate my consciousness to God, to the Dharma, to the here and now. I can elevate myself, I can direct my consciousness, and that's what I can do. And the rest, I'm not the doer, and I'm not the owner. Very, very good points. A little hard to understand. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave your questions below. I'd love to hear from you. And have your rest of your day with lots of peace and lots of love.